Have you ever been so caught up in your thoughts that they completely took over your day? Well, I'd like to tell you about a time when I found myself so depressed that I wandered the streets of North Hollywood looking for a distraction, something to ease my mental pain. The funny thing is that I can't recall what I was so depressed about. Did I have an issue at work? Did I have a fallout with a friend? I couldn't tell you. But I can tell you this because I remember it so clearly and because it changed the way I saw myself and the way I saw life. I spotted the lit stained glass windows of the Church of Religious Science, and it looked inviting, so I wandered into the courtyard. Service was in session and the doors were closed, but there was a bookstore. It was open, so I went inside. Right in the entranceway was a table stacked high with a yellow and green book and an audio tape titled The Power of Now. Most of us know Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now today, but back then it was newly released. And I just now realized that that was another one of those road sign moments that I've experienced throughout my life. But this time leading me right to that book. And the funny thing is, I don't remember anything else from that bookstore that night, only that tower of books and CDs on that table. Needless to say, I purchased the CDs and rushed home to listen. I think it was exactly the distraction I needed. I sat in the complete darkness, wearing earbuds and listening to Eckhart Tolle talk about how we are not our thoughts, and that we can, if we take a moment to look at the thoughts around a particular situation, create space between the thoughts and the feelings or the emotions that arise from those thoughts. What a strange concept. You are not your thoughts. But in that moment, I completely understood what Eckhart was describing. In fact, I had this instantaneous reaction where I, the observer aspect of myself, was able to pull away from the thoughts and the feelings. And while still feeling the sensation of depression, I bursted into laughter. I could still feel the pain, but at the same time, I found joy in realizing that this pain wasn't me, that the pain was simply something I was experiencing at that moment in time. But it wasn't mine, and I was free to release it whenever I was ready to release it. It was as if I turned over a log and the bugs that were causing me pain scurried in every direction. Here's what I learned. There's the thought, and then there's an aspect of me who is aware of the thought. And those aren't the same thing. Most of us go through life assuming that we are our thoughts, that if an anxious thought shows up, we are anxious. If an angry thought shows up, we are angry. Here's a challenge. Notice a thought, any thought. We have thousands of them every day. Just pick one. Okay, now you are conscious of that thought because you noticed it on purpose. That noticing part, some call it the observer, some call it awareness. And here's what's interesting about it. This awareness, this consciousness, it doesn't panic when the thought is panic. It doesn't rage when the thought is rage. It just watches. And here's why that matters. If you are the observer and not the thought, you can control what happens next. And the thought doesn't get to dictate what you do next. Yes, it has dictated all of our lives in the past. We all lose our cool, but now that you are conscious of the thought, you can also be conscious of how you respond to the thoughts. Here's the funny thing about those thoughts running wild in our head. I've noticed something interesting over the years. Thought patterns lose a surprising amount of their power once we begin to watch them. It's almost like turning over a log and watching the bugs scatter. The moment conscious awareness arrives, the pattern no longer has the same grip it had a moment before. Becoming conscious of a particular thought pattern doesn't mean it disappears and never returns. It just means that you are now conscious of the pattern. And the same patterns will show up from time to time and test you, perhaps just to see if you're watching. And if you're not, they will take you for a ride. But because you are conscious, you'll eventually catch it again. And the moment you do, it scatters. You might even find that afterwards it's difficult to recall what triggered the thoughts and responses in the first place. So here's something you can do when you encounter one of these pesky thoughts. First, recognize it for what it is, just a thought. And like all thoughts, it comes and goes. Unless you grabbed hold of it, then it sticks around for a bit. When it sticks around, get curious about why it's showing up in your life. This is important because you're the one experiencing the thought, not the others in your space. Or you can simply recognize it for what it is, a thought, and let it go. As I said, it may return from time to time, but now you're watching. And a thought that's being watched doesn't get to take control. Try this for a day or two. Or if you're like me, adopt it as part of your daily routine until it becomes habit. Every time a strong thought shows up, silently say to yourself, it's just a thought. Then ask yourself, who noticed? You don't have to answer the question. Just let it point you towards the part of you that's been quietly watching all along. If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Was there ever a moment in your life when you realized that you were more than the thoughts running through your mind? Your story might be exactly what somebody else needs to hear. Hey, I'm Dr. James, and until next time, keep watching those thoughts and don't forget who's watching. Growth doesn't end here. There's a lot more to unpack together. When you're ready, your next step is waiting.